part 2 of Amaya's interview on Call Her Daddy, and she was asked if people in the villa were cliquey, and she said they all tried their best to interact with one another. She definitely said there were people in the villa that would gravitate towards other people more, and she gravitated towards Huda. Outside of Huda, she also had a really great friendship with Alandria. She said when the Ace Babe situation happened, she isolated herself, she would spend the day crying, and Alandria was the one that was there for her. In terms of Hannah being sent home, she said the girls were saying that Hannah made 2 really strong connections, and when she's in her connections, she's very tunnel vision. I also told her they wanted to keep her there so she could have the opportunity to find her connection. She was asked if people were getting voted off when they had strong connections because that's what it looked like to the audience, and she said they all had a conversation that if they were not closed off, they were going to be open. And she said it would get messy and weird because if a girl is approaching a guy that you're in a couple with, it would start drama. In terms of Casa Amor, she said the reason why Zach chose her was because he felt like it was more romantic, where he felt like it was more platonic with Alandria. Obviously, at that point, Nick Alandria happened, and she was asked if she thought it was genuine, and she said yes. Then they talk about the mailbox challenge and how she was ganged up on, and she was saying that a lot of people were saying she cried too much, and she was thinking to herself, well, damn, I'm like, how do I stop myself from crying right now? What really took her back was the fact that she had no idea Zach even felt that way. And she thought to herself, at least I have somebody that will stand up for me, but it was not the case at all. In terms of them saying she was coming on too strong, she said she never understood that because it wasn't like she was groping people. She even said, I never spoke to anybody about marriage or kids and felt like she was walking on eggshells. And she said, keep in mind, we're on Love Island. I thought this was a dating show, and now I can't even have my shoulder touching somebody else's shoulder. When asked why she thought nobody stood up for her, she said it was either because they felt the same way, or they likely and probably likely they didn't want to get involved. But had the roles been reversed, she said she definitely would have stood up for the other girls. In terms of Brian standing up for her, she said at that point when she was taking so many hits, she had her head down, and then she hears a voice and she looks up and it's Brian defending her, and she just glowed. She said after that challenge, their conversations would just flow, and she felt like she could just be herself without being tamed. She was then asked about the challenge where America voted her most genuine and if she felt like she noticed people's attitudes toward her changed, and she said yes. And remember how heavily Zach switched up on her? She said, don't you worry, because she definitely saw that too. And Alex said, you don't have to name any names, but did you feel like some of the women were nicer to you? And she said, yeah. We get into Sierra leaving, and apparently not only did they not know she left, they never even got to see her packing. Even said at one point she went up to Nick saying, where's Sierra? Because nobody knew where she was. But she did talk about why Sierra was sent home and said, words matter and we have to respect one another. They then did a speed round of questions, and she was asked which Islander